Hi, mystery writers. Welcome to Write a Killer Mystery, where we talk about making a good mystery great. And today I want to talk about experiential setting and how it makes a difference in your story. First, I want to thank my supporters on Patreon who help keep this video series going and support my writing. If you'd like to join us, there's a link in the description below. Okay, so I'll talk about experiential setting and how it makes a difference in your story. Because crafting a compelling mystery goes beyond just plotting out the twists and turns. It really involves captivating your reader and bringing them into your story, wanting them to feel like they're there and they're right there with your detective. And you can do that with experiential setting. They are intentionally designed spaces in your story that create an experience or an atmosphere in your story. So it's the details that bring that setting to life. In the context of a mystery novel, that means using every aspect of the environment, the lighting, the color, the sound, the scents, the surroundings, to make it cohesive and feel like it's part of the story instead of like this overlay of a setting and telling a keyword, telling the reader where they are. All right, so you can start by thinking about the mood that you want to create for a particular scene and how you want to bring those setting details in to enhance the mood of the scene. Um, you can begin with the basic elements of the physical environment. The size, the layout of the space. Are they in a cramped, tiny room or a big, expansive auditorium? The time of day, the weather, all the details that your character experiences as they are in that particular scene. For example, a dark and stormy night can instantly create a sense of danger and uncertainty. And then this is so important. You want to consider the sensory elements of the scene. What sounds, smells, textures will your character encounter? And this is what these are the details that help your reader experience, as in experiential, help them experience the scene through the way your character senses their environment. Um, by using experiential setting in your mystery, you'll create a really immersive experience for your readers. They're going to feel like they are there with your character. And with the right attention to detail and the creative use of atmosphere, your readers will feel like they're living the mystery alongside of your character. All right. So how do you do that? You want to engage your reader's senses using those 5 senses that we all have to create an unforgettable experiential setting. To truly immerse your readers in the world of your mystery novel, you need to immerse them in all 5 of the senses. And the sensory details of a setting create that powerful emotional response in the reader, making them feel they're right there with your character. So let's just go through the 5 senses and see how this works. All right, first of all, sight. All right, the most obvious sense to engage the reader and what writers often think of as setting, as what your character sees. All right, so uh, make it vivid. Use colors and textures and all the visual elements of the environment. Um, to create that vivid detail. Use sensory details to create a strong mental image. You want that mental image for your reader. And for example, describe the way the light filters through the trees, casting shadows on the ground. It's just one way that you can bring sight and that visual stimulation into your scene. And sound is also a powerful sensory element. You can describe the sounds of the environment in detail, from rustling leaves to creaking old floorboards, right? And use the sounds to build tension and create a sense of unease, or to provide a moment of relief in an otherwise tense scene. And so sounds, and once again, I know I've said this before, but I want to stress that the sights that your reader sees and the sounds that they hear are the ones that the character, the point of view character in that scene senses. You want to use that point of view character's senses to bring in that sensory information. So instead of being outside over here, you're telling your reader about the sounds. It's stronger if your reader experiences it through the character, so that it's what the character hears or what the character sees. All right. So smell. All right, smell is very powerful since it's linked to memory, and this works just as well for your readers. When you describe a certain sense, it evokes memories for your reader as well as your character. So you can use it to describe the aroma of a bakery, or the smell of a damp basement, or the salty air of the ocean. Whatever it is that scent is, it helps really bring that reader into your setting. And it's very immersive. All right. And then there's taste. While taste may not be the most obvious sense to engage in a story, it still works, and it can be a powerful tool in creating a sense of familiarity for your reader. When your character experiences a taste, it's strawberries, chocolate, vinegar, whatever it is, you can use that taste to describe a meal that they're having, or the metallic tang of blood when they taste blood. And these details can add depth and make the reader feel like they are there. And one more is touch. And that sense of touch can be used to describe the texture of objects or the feeling of the environment. So use tactile descriptions to create a sense of the physical space, from the roughness of a brick wall to the softness of a blanket. Really immerse your reader in these sensory details, all right, because they create a powerful sense of immersion that your reader's going to feel like they're in the story, right? And by engaging all of the senses, you create a truly immersive experience for your reader, which makes them feel like they're in the story. All right. And you want to use your detective as a guide to experiencing that mystery setting. So use those sensory details. As a mystery writer, your goal is to create an immersive experience that transports your readers into the world of your characters. But to truly engage your readers, you need to create a setting that feels real and tangible, right? And one of the most effective ways to do this is through the sensory eyes, as it were, of your detective. Because the detective is not only the protagonist of your story, but they're the sensory guide for your reader through everything that is happening, everything that they experience in this story, and what they experience is what you want your readers to experience as well. And by using those sensory details to describe the environment, your detective can bring the setting to life and make it feel more real for the reader. So let's see how we can do that with the five senses. You can use sight to set a scene, all right? As your detective enters that particular setting for the scene, you use vivid descriptions to create a mental image of the environment. It's what your detective sees as they enter that setting. What does it look like? What are the key visual elements in that particular setting? And then for smell, it's a powerful way to create that sense of place. And use your detective's observation of scents to provide clues to the reader or to create a particular mood. You can play around with all these senses, right? And so what they smell is part of what is around them. So a dank basement is going to smell different than spring meadow, for instance. Okay. Um, and also you can use sound. Sound is great for building tension. Um, and it's also good for creating mood and atmosphere in the scene. What do you want the overall scene to feel like? Is it tense? Is it a relaxing moment? Um, so what are the sounds that your detective hears, um, and how do they respond to those sounds? All right. And then for the sense of touch, it helps the reader experience the physical environment as well. You can use tactile descriptions to describe the texture of objects, something that your detective picks up. What does it feel like? All right. Um, and those tactile descriptions uh, help create a feeling of the environment for that particular scene. All right. And then once again, taste. Uh, you can create either familiarity for your reader or you can create discomfort. That's the two of the ways that you can use taste in your scene. Um, it can be a powerful tool in creating a sense of familiarity or discomfort, just depending on what your detective is tasting at that moment in the scene. So by using your detective as the sensory guide to experiencing the whole mystery novel, you create a powerful and immersive reading experience for your audience. So what you're doing with all of this, with experiential setting, is bringing your reader into the story with sensory details. It is the power of immersive writing. In the world of mystery writing, the setting can be just as important as the characters and the plot. Just think of those mystery series that you might see on television and how often they open up with the moon shining behind the trees blowing in the wind. And you're setting a mood right away with that setting information. One of the most effective ways you can create that setting is through that sensory information. And by engaging all of those five senses, you can create a rich and remarkable experience. It's like an experiential setting for your reader. And however, it's important to avoid long narrative passages that take away. So once again, I know I've stressed this before in Write a Killer Mystery, that those details occur as they happen for your detective. So they may enter the scene and the reader sees what the detective sees. And there may be scents that the detective smells when they enter a particular scene that trigger memories for your reader. So just put those details in as your detective experiences them away. All right. You can use smells, sounds, and textures to provide clues to readers or to create a particular mood. And this adds depth to the narrative and makes the mystery feel more engaging. All right. The power of sensory details cannot be overstressed in creating an immersive world for your reader. So I think that's basically what I wanted to cover today, was creating that experiential setting. It has so much power for your reader as they experience those five senses that they know. It triggers all kinds of memories and emotional reactions for your reader, and connects them with your detective, because they feel like they know what your detective is experiencing as well. So with the right attention to detail and the creative use of those sensory details, you'll create a setting that keeps your reader engaged. All right, first of all, I want to thank you for being here, and I hope your writing is going well. And if you have any questions about creating the experiential setting and immersing your reader in the setting, please put them in the comments. I'd love to answer your questions. And thank you so much for being here. And don't forget to click the subscribe and get the next mystery tips from Write a Killer Mystery.